Hello. I got a request for showing how I play Cat Stevens Into White. It's one of my favorite Cat Stevens songs. Um, and I probably don't know the correct way to play it, but I did figure out a way that's comfortable for me based on watching him play it live and also looking a little bit at the chord tabs. I kind of figured out a way to play it. It's actually made for two guitars, so there's really no correct way to play it by yourself. Um, but his part is very similar to what I'm doing. I'm kind of changing a few things here and there, kind of make it easier and also to add a little bit more of my own flavor to it. Um, but it's basically built on a D chord. But if you notice, I'm playing it in the C position because I have a capo here. So I'm going to refer to each chord by their position. So basically, if I say a C, it's really a D because it's two half steps up with the capo on the second fret here. Um, and if another example, if I say D, it's probably an E because I'm playing the D position, but it's two half steps up, so it's really an E. So don't get confused by that. It's just easier for me to keep track of the chords. It's probably easier for you if you're a guitar player that's just learning the basic chords. So let's start it. It starts with a C arpeggio on the four middle strings, except there is a pickup to it. So before you play that C arpeggio, you're actually playing an open A string to the second fret, right? Then the next note is the third fret of the top E string, okay? And then you're playing an open D, or an open A, I mean. And while you're playing that A, you should be switching to a D position so that when you go down, you're playing a D arpeggio. But you stop at the G string, you skip the B, and you go right to the E. So there's the E, and then you go to the B. So it's, see that? So the whole thing together is, okay, and that's actually the tempo he plays it. It's pretty slow, so it shouldn't be too hard to get that. You might have to practice it a few times to get good at it. Don't speed it up though. I have a tendency after I learn something to play it a little too fast. It's actually at a pretty slow tempo. The song is pretty slow, so just try to hold back if you can. If you find yourself speeding up a lot. And then you get to the verse. So after you do that four times, that do 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 four times, then you do the verse. And the verse is the same chords, except now you're singing over it. I build my house from barley rice. Notice how I'm doing a D arpeggio. So you could either do starting from the D, or you can start from the D. You don't have to do that. I mean, that's just something I do. I add that. I think he does it too, so it gives it a little bit more of a flavor. So yeah, you do. I build my house from barley rice, green pepper walls, and water ice. Now the next chord is a G. So now instead of doing C, G, A, you're doing G, C, D, or I'm sorry, C, G, D. Now you're doing G, C, D. So it's tables of paper wood, windows of, and the next chord is actually an F minor 9 with the pinky on the 5th fret. But you notice how I don't play with the pinky right out. I like to pick it. I like to go. So I'm just strumming it once, just the bottom 4 strings. And then I just do the bottom 3 picking backwards. But one time with my pinky on the 5th fret, and the second time without it. And then it resolves to the C. And then the C kind of goes, kind of building up. So altogether it's tables of paper wood, windows of light, and everything emptying. So what did I do there? After the and everything, C, G, emptying, D into Y, and then this chord, which is one of my favorite chords. It's basically an E minor, but you're putting your pinky on the G string on the 2nd fret, right beneath it, and you have this finger ready, your pointer ready, to resolve it on the 1st fret of the G string when you lift up your pinky to resolve it to an E. That's an E. See how it goes? I think it's a really beautiful combination. I really do like that that kind of dissonant release pattern that has. So altogether, it's tables of paper wood, windows of light, and everything emptying into and that's pretty much the whole song right there. I mean, that once you know those chords, you could play the whole song. The other verses have a couple different things going on, you know, but basically the second verse is the same as the first. It goes back to this. Again, I'm going too fast. It's actually... And then it only repeats twice that time, and then you go back to the C. A simple garden with acres of sky, a brown-haired dog mouse if one drops by. Yellow Delaney would sleep well at night, with everything emptying into I. After the second verse, there is an instrumental going back to the... four times. And then it goes the... So same as we had played before, except now it's an instrumental. You're not singing over it. If you have a harmonica, it's a good time to take your harmonica solo. If you don't have a harmonica, you might want to hum or just skip it. Just go right to the next verse. A lot of people do that. I do that a lot. And then you go to the last verse, which is just, it doesn't repeat this part. It just goes straight into the last verse, which is, a sad blue-eyed drummer rehearses outside. Again, I'm going too fast. It's more like, a sad blue-eyed drummer rehearses outside, a black spider dancing on top of his eye. Red-legged chicken stands ready to strike. See how I hit strike? He does that strike. He hits that harder. You might want to play the chords before that softer. So when you hit strike, it's a little bit jarring. It's supposed to be strike. And everything emptying into I. And then I think it doesn't go back into the, it doesn't do that, just goes right back into the last verse, which is basically a repeat of the first verse, but with the a couple of the lines taken out. So it's like I build my house with barley, rice, green pepper walls, and water ice. Now I skip singing these next two lines because I'm just playing under it. And everything emptying into wine. Now notice how I did wine. He doesn't do that. I do that. For some reason, I just like the way that sounds. Wine. But then you got to go back and do it again to resolve it on the note. And I like to give a nice ritardando, like slow down. Everything emptying into wine. And that's basically the whole song. It's it does take practice. I mean, it's one of those songs that is it's not that hard to learn, but it's very hard to master. And since it's such a delicate song, you don't want to make mistakes. So I would recommend really practicing that song before really performing it live. It'll take some time, but it is worth it. It's because it is a really good song to play. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned from it. And happy playing. Bye.